Hi everyone, this is Laura again, and I'm bringing you another simple. If you've just seen my previous video, let me start over. If you've just seen the previous video, I had a subby who has been watching my videos and wanted to know um, how to do layering, and she wanted to use her Cricut machine. And I gave her some suggestion. I did a very simple layout using the Cricut cartridge, the Sentimental Cricut cartridge. And it got me to thinking that there are some of us out there who do not, who do not have a Cricut machine and still would like to do some layouts. And they would still like to do some simple layers and do get intimidated. So I decided to do this layout, not using the Cricut cartridge, but try to make it as simple um, for this person and other subbies of mine, and just give them an idea of the process on how I put layers without using a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, let's just face it, guys, some of us just don't have a lot of the big die cut machines or the spell binders, but what we do have in our stash, and it's what I did these layers with, and it's what I wanted to bring attention to, is a simple square punch and a simple circle punch. And if you just started scrapbooking, or if you just started making layouts, especially the circle punches is a must. It's a must-have. It's a basic um, supply in our scrapbook room, in our stash. Um, and I'm going to show you why, because you can just do so many things with these products, especially the squares and the circles. So this layout I did using the Mariposa paper collection by Die Cuts with a View. And what I did here is I made another layout for a 5 by 7 photo, or even an 8 by 10 photo, um, depending on how you wanted to trim it. What I did was I distressed all the edges using my Tim Holtz tea dye. And then what I did was I wanted to show my friend the layers that I did here. I stamped, well, first I cut out a whole bunch of circles and squares. And as you can see, these are actually, and I don't know if you can see that, on pop dots, just to give it dimension. And that's another form of layering, is using your pop dots or your foam adhesive. Um, what I did was I stamped the word family on all the circles, and I distressed the edges on all the circles before I glued them on, in case I made a boo-boo on any of them. Um, and these, I think these stamps I have are from Seven Gypsies. And then what I did was I also distressed all the squares. And what I did with the squares, and I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up on this, guys. If you can see those squares, these are all manila papers I used for both. But if you can look at the squares, you see there's a lot of stuff going on those squares. That's actually a stamp. And what I did was I just stamped each one of the squares using the same color that's in this paper. And I believe I used um, this ink right here, which is an archival ink. Um, Sorry about that, guys. It's called Pearlescent Blue Sky, and it's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Besides my Tim Holtz Distress inks, of course. And what I did was I stamped all the squares first. And what I did was, once I was finished stamping the letters, distressing them, and then stamping those little swirls on the squares just for added layers and dimension. Once I was satisfied, then I glued them all down, and I put the circles on pop dots, and then the squares, I just tilted them, shaped them like little diamonds, and in between each square, I added some of these beautiful rhinestones just to give it a little zhoosh. And then what I did was I cut out a um, photo mat using uh, I don't even know where I got this paper from. I think this might be a Daisy D paper from my stash, but it matched so pretty the color with the mariposa papers that I went with it. And if you can see here, I also stamped. It was 2 sheets of paper. Remember, I always pull 3 sheets out, and there was one of these, 2 of these, and one of the manila 12 by 12 papers. And what I did was I first cut this one out and I stamped it using my brown distressed inks. And I use different shades of brown, and that's why some places it looks darker, some places it looks lighter. That's another great way to add layers onto your projects without going crazy buying embellishments. And then what I did was I distressed the manila paper, which I cut down a half an inch smaller, and then for the main page. Now, usually what I do is I do the photo mat first, and then I just add a half an inch or a quarter of an inch for the photo mat. And of course, I cut the corners using my scallop page border by EK Success, and it just gives it a nice little finish on the edges, which is another, to me, another form of layering, to be quite honest. And I distressed the whole entire paper with tea dyes. And then I added some brads to the corners. And everybody has brads in their stash. We don't even use them as much as we should. I'm going to start using all the darn brads I have because, gosh, I have a lot of them. And then over here, I have some Prima flowers that I also distressed with those inks. And I also distressed with some gold, also archival's brilliance. I have it in gold and in blue. And I distressed all the flowers that were white using those ink pads just to keep the color combo going. And I also added some brads, same color as the one over here. And with these though, I kind of took my little hammer and I kind of pounced on it a little bit just to give it a flattened, distressed, edgier look to them. I just wanted them flatter than the ones that were in the corner. And then I also added a piece of ribbon here that coordinated, or I thought coordinated well with the paper collection. And I added a piece of lace here, again using some of those same rhinestones here, and a piece of gold trim. So although I did put a few layers on with the gold beaded trim and the lace, it's still really simple. And the flower too. And also remember, like I told you guys before, if you're gonna put a photo down, try not to glue down your embellies all the way so that you can tuck that photo in there just in case you need to. Of course, you can always cut 2 photos and put them here. And if you decided to change your mind, well, if I decided to change my mind, and that's what I love about this big space. I can also collage a whole bunch of different photos here. I can put 2 photos. I could just put one big photo. Of course, I made it with the intent of using one big photo, but I don't have to stick to that. I can always um, do my scrapbook pages and change my mind later, put 2, 4, one photo there. But I just wanted to show my friends another way of layering without using 100 different types of embellishments. I'm sure these are embellishments that everyone has in their stash that they can use, and they can create what I think to be a pretty layout without going crazy. Um, I hope you like it. It is very simple for me, but I think it's still pretty. And you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and work on a whole bunch more layouts. This is kind of bringing me back to my earlier scrapbooking days when I didn't have so much stuff in my room, in my scrapbook room. And I think I'm kind of enjoying myself here. It's like making me think more about what I'm putting down on my papers. So stay tuned for some more of those simple um, simple layered scrapbooking layouts. That's what I'm going to call them. Simple layered scrapbooking layouts. And I also have a project, a card that I just finished that I also want to share with you guys. So as always, have a blessed day. Enjoy this day off with the children. I have mine here listening to her music, making her little stationery paper because she is going to become pen pals with her grandma and she wants to make some stationery paper. So maybe I'll share some of her papers with you guys later. Have a blessed day. So long for now. Adios. Bye.